Hey guys, so in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make this mini ghost, which was designed by me, and it is based off of a design of a ghost I made a long time ago, but made it smaller and I'm going to be remaking the tutorial for the bigger ghost, and it'll probably be out tomorrow because I'm really cramming a lot of tutorials in this week because I am trying to put a bunch of stuff out before Halloween. So here's my mini ghost design. I've made a couple tweaks to this design. So this guy's bottom, I didn't really like it. It wasn't squiggly enough. So this is the better of the bottoms, but then I did the arms wrong. So the arms will look like this, but the bottom will look like this. Yeah, either way, it'll be cute. I also accidentally put his arms way too high up, so oops. But yeah. So band-wise, this guy's not band heavy at all. It's about 121 bands for the whole ghost. And they're really fun because you can stick them on your fingers. I don't know why I like designs that you can do this with, but it's fun. But yeah, this is also a fairly easy design. I think it's one of my easier ones. It's not very small. I mean, we start pretty small, but we get big really quickly, so it's not that hard. So yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this design, so for this design today, you're going to, of course, need a hook. You can use whatever hook you want. I'll be using my double-ended hook today just because this is like my favorite hook. And then you're going to want something to mark your rows with. Today I'll be using a C-clip, but you can use an S-clip, paper clip, whatever you have. If you want to do a face on these guys, you're going to want to get stuff to do a face. You could use bands or beads. I'm going to be using beads again today. And if you want to do cheeks, you can get 2 different colored bands for the cheeks. And I usually just glue the mouth on, so yeah. Also, for today's ghost, I'm going to be doing... I'm going to be using clear bands. I was just curious to see how one of these would look with clear bands. For this guy, I used Jelly White. And this one I used the Purple Electric Glow, that one. But yeah, I think they look better with jelly bands, but you can use whatever you want. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. So I guess we'll get started. I have the pattern and the band count in the description as always if you want to look at that. But we will be getting started. Just picking up so many bands right now. Oop. I really wanted to make a green ghost, but I didn't have the colors, which was tragic. Okay. So to start, we're going to start by wrapping a band 3 times around our hook. So 1, 2, 3. And then once we finish wrapping a band 3 times around our hook, we're going to get another band. We're going to pull it through everything on our hook. Put both ends back on our hook. And then push the back one over the front one. And we're going to do that same thing again. So we're going to go through the cap band. We're going to pull a band through just the cap band, so not this last one. Put both ends back on our hook. Push the back one over the front one. And then push the loop from last time over as well. And I forgot to say earlier, but we're putting 4 stitches in this cap band if you already know what I'm doing. So there's 2 stitches, so we need to do 2 more. So once again, we'll just go into the cap band. Pull a band through the whole cap band, push the back one over the front one, and then push the loop from last time over as well. And we're going to do that one more time. And that should be 4 stitches. So now if you count around, you should have 4. And to count, we're going to start by counting the one on our hook. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4. I don't know why I was looking for 5 and 6, but yeah, you should have 4 loops. So you count the one on your hook, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So once you've made sure you have 4 bands, instead of going back into the cap band, you're going to go into this first loop here. And then you're going to pull a band through just the loop. Push the back one over the front one, and then push the band from last time over as well. And we'll be putting our C-clip on this band. Like that. I don't know if it was the best idea using clear. It's kind of hard for you guys to see what I'm doing. But it's kind of hard to see right now anyways. So now for this next row, we're going to be increasing everything. So every single stitch we do is going to be an increase. And what an increase is you basically put 2 stitches in each loop all the way around. So this, I don't know if it's unfocused. Okay, so this stitch right here, this loop, already has 1 stitch in it, but because we're increasing everything, we need to go back into this loop and make another stitch. and that's an increase. So I'll show you that again. So you're going to go into the next loop. You're going to make 1 stitch. And then you go back into that same loop and make another stitch. Like that. And we just keep doing that all the way around. So you just do 2 stitches in each loop basically. And we're just increasing all the way around. Then once you get to the C-clip, you're going to make a stitch on the band that has a C-clip on it. And then we'll be moving our C-clip up onto the band that is currently on our hook. Like that. So now if we count around, we should have 8 loops. So you'll start by counting the one on your hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like that. I feel like I'm going fast, but I don't know if it's because it's really small, because I always feel like when the thing is small, I go faster, but not important. So for the next row, we're going to be increasing every other. So we're going to kind of do what we did last row, but we're going to do an increase, and then we're going to do a single stitch, and then we're going to do an increase. So this first one will be our single stitch, so the next one's going to be an increase. So we do 2 stitches in this one. And then the next one will be a single stitch, so we just do 1 stitch in this one. And then we do an increase again. And we're basically just alternate between doing an increase and then a single stitch. So we're going to do a single stitch. And we'll do an increase. Then a single stitch. Then we do an increase. And then we do a single stitch. Yeah. And then you're going to make a stitch on the band that has a C-clip on it, and you'll move the C-clip up onto the band that is on your hook. So now if we count around, we should be at 12 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like that. It should be looking something like this. Also at this point, I kind of like to make it flat. So I'll just squish it down a little bit so it's more flat. Just because we want our ghost to be kind of flat. It just helps it take shape better. So now it's going to get really repetitive. So for the next 5 rows, we're just going to be doing 5 rows of single stitches, so 5 rows normal. And we're not going to be increasing anything, we're not going to be decreasing anything, we're just going to do 5 rows of single stitches. And at the end of each of these rows, you should be at 12 stitches still. So yeah, I'm going to stay and do the first 1, maybe 2 rows with you, and then I'm going to go off to do the rest. So I'll go off camera. So we're going to do a row of single stitches right now. Like I said, we have to do 5 of these. So all you're going to do is you're just going to put 1 stitch in every loop until you get to the C-clip. So you just put 1 stitch in every single loop. We're still going. I just realized I wasn't saying anything, but I didn't have anything to say. Because we're just doing 1 stitch in every loop. And then once you get to the C-clip, you'll just make a stitch on the band that has a C-clip on it. And move it up. And that's it. And if you count around at this point, you should still have 12. Like I said, we're going to want to do 5 rows of these total. So we just did 1. So we want to do 4 more. I feel like there's not much for me to explain, so I'm going to go off camera, I'm going to go do the 4 rows, and then I'll come back and show you how to finish them up. Okay, so I just finished doing the 5 rows, so it should be looking something like this, and if you count around at the end of the 5 rows, you should still be at 12, so we'll count right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I did not count right. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, there's 12. I always count wrong. But yeah, we should be at 12 loops, and now what we're going to do is we are going to do this weird squiggly bit at the bottom, and it's actually pretty easy. So I will show you exactly what we do. And then this pretty much finishes off the bottom of the ghost, and then we have to just attach the arms. So what we're going to do is we are going to go into this loop, the same loop that has the stitch that has a C-clip on it. We're going to go into that loop. We're going to pull up a band and like chain it up like this. So you just pull a band through and then basically put both ends back on your hook. And then we're going to pull another band through everything on our hook. And then put the back one over the front one. And then we're going to go back into this chain. Pull a band through just the chain. Put both ends back on our hook. And then push the back one over the front one. And then push the loop from last time over. Like that. So what we basically did is we chained one up and then we put 2 stitches in the chain, but we slip stitch when we put the loop from last time in. That's what basically happened. Okay, I'll show you that again. But first, we're going to go into the next stitch, or the next loop. So you go into the next loop. You're going to pull a band through everything on your hook, put both ends back on your hook, and then push the back one over the front one. And after we do that, we're going to do the chain thing again. So you basically slip stitch and then you do the chain thing again. But this one time it's a little bit different than the first time. So we're going to go into the next loop. We're going to chain up one. So we're going to pull a band through just that loop and put both ends back on our hook. And then we're going to pull a band through everything on our hook. Put both ends back on. Push the back one over the front one. And then we're going to go back into that chain. We're going to pull a band through just the chain. Put both ends back on our hook, back one over the front one, and then the loop from last time over as well. Like that. And then that's it for this bit. So now we're going to go into the next loop. We're going to slip stitch, so we're going to pull a band through everything on our hook. Put both ends back on, and then push the back one over the front one. And we're going to repeat that same thing we just did, like right now, all the way until we get to the C-clip, but I'm going to show you a couple more times because I know it might be confusing. I'm just picking up more bands. So we just slip stitch, so in the next stitch we're going to do another one of the squiggly bits. So we're going to pull a band through just the loop, put both ends back on our hook, so we chained up one, and then we're going to slip stitch, so we're going to pull the band through everything on our hook, and then put the back one over the front one. And then we're going to go back into the chain, and we're just going to make a stitch, so we're just going to pull a band through just the chain, put the back one over the front one, and then put the loop from last time over as well. And then that's it for the squiggly bit, so we're going to go into the next loop, and we're going to slip stitch again, so we're just going to pull a band through everything on our hook, and then push the back one over the front one. And then the next stitch we'll do a squiggly bit, so we're going to chain up one, then we'll slip stitch, so you pull a band through everything on your hook, then put the back one over the front one, then you go back in, make a stitch, and then we slip stitch into the next loop. So after you do that, you go to the next loop, you do a slip stitch, and then the next one we do the squiggly thing again, so you chain up one, pull a band through everything on your hook, back one over the front one, go back into the chain, and you just make a stitch. Like that. And then in the next one you do a slip stitch. So you pull a band through everything on your hook, put the back one over the front one. And then this one right here will be our last squiggly bit, so you'll chain up one, and you'll slip stitch. Then you'll do a single stitch. And then you'll go into the next loop, and then you'll slip stitch. But this time we're just going to do the slip stitch, right? And then we'll pull it tight. And then we'll just tuck our tail in. So I usually just come up into the inside of him, and I'll tuck it in. I just go through some loops and then pull it. And if I could pull it in, I'm having a hard time. There we go. And that's it. So now at this point you can take the C-clip out because we've literally just closed him off. This one bit right here might look a little weird. I've tried to fix that, and in all the dudes I've made, no matter what, you kind of end up with this one that's longer than this one. But if you put it to the back, it's not really noticeable, so usually I'll put the face on the side that has the nicer edges. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for his main body portion. Now we just have to add the arms and the face. So I'm gonna go grab some stuff for the face and get more bands for the arms because I just ran out. Okay, so I got all my stuff for my face. I have my beads. I haven't put them on the bands yet, so I can show you guys how to do that. And I got 2 bands to make the cheeks. I'm going to give him purple cheeks. But first we're going to do the arms. And the arms aren't super hard. They are made a little weird though. So I'm going to pick up some bands. And we're going to want to come to the side of our ghost. And you don't want to make the mistake I did with this guy of putting his arms too high. You're going to want to come down a little, so I'm going to put his arm right here. And we're just going to stitch in, so we'll just pull a band through that loop and then put the back one over the front one. And we're just going to stitch in about 3 times. So we'll stitch in right here, and then I'll come over here, stitch in, and you're going to kind of want to make a circle. I don't think the camera's focused. Yeah, so you see how I kind of stitched in a circle 3 times, so 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to want to go into this weird bit that isn't a loop, but we're going to use it as a loop. So you see these are the 3 loops, and then there's this weird bit. We're going to go into that weird bit. And we're going to make a stitch. And I don't put a C-clip on this one, so we're just going to keep going. So then we're going to go into the first loop. We're going to make a single stitch. And then we're going to go to the next loop, do another single stitch. And now we're just going to do a decrease. So we're going to, my voice kind of cracked there. We're going to do a decrease. So we're going to grab the inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop. And then once we have that decrease up on our hook, we're going to pull a band through everything on our hook, put the back one over the front one, and then pull tight. And that's our arm. So then we're just going to want to tuck this inside. So you just pull it inside. And there we go. He has a tiny arm. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So once again, we will get some more bands. And I'll show you that again in case you were confused. I also recommend, because I know I go a little quick, pausing if you get confused, or maybe watching it first and then trying to do it. That might help if you were lost. But what we're going to do is the same thing we did on the other side. So we're going to do 3 stitches in a little circle right where we want the arms. So I'm just going to come across. We'll go right here. So 1, 2. So we're just stitching 3 times in a circle. And this one's 3. And then once you've stitched 3 times in a circle, you're going to go into that weird bit. So the bit that isn't a loop but always looks like one. We're going to go into that. Couldn't see it, so I'm coming off camera to find where that weird loop is. There we go. So that weird loop that isn't a loop but looks kind of weird and like one. We're going to go into that bit. We're going to make a stitch. Then we're going to do 2 single stitches. So 1. Oopsies. Trying to do 2 single stitches. It's just not cooperating. So 1, 2. And after you do 2 single stitches, we're going to decrease. And to decrease, you're going to grab the inside part of the next loop and the back part of the loop after that one. And then you're going to pull a band through everything on your hook. Put the back one over the front one and pull tight. And then you just hide your tail inside. think I put this arm too low. So it's looking a little low. No, it's okay. And you might have to squish the arm a little bit, but it should be okay. I think I put that one a little low. Oopsies. It's always hard for me to see where I'm attaching things on camera, so... Yours shouldn't be... Okay, it's not that crooked. I wasn't that off. Ta-da. There we go. So now all we have to do is just do the face. So to do the face, we are going to get our beads and a piece of floss or string or whatever you want to use. Then we're going to put our bead on the piece of floss. And we're going to put a band on. And then we're going to fold over this way. Go back through the bead. And we'll just slide it on. And we're going to do that again for the other eye. So you put your bead on the piece of floss. And you put your band on. And we fold over. And go back through the bead. And then just slide it on. And now, we're going to come probably about right here. And we'll just tie our eyes in. Like that. Then I'll come right here and put the other eye. And there we go. Now we'll just put the cheeks in. And I usually come right under the eye. And then there's like these bands that are going like this, swooping. You're going to want to go through one of those. And then you just put the back one over the front one, but you don't pull it super tight. You leave it kind of loose. Like that. We do that on the other side. That's it. He's done. Yay. So that was super quick and easy. I hope your ghost turned out okay. Yeah, I think he looks really good as a clear ghost. He looks very different, but that's probably just because he's clear. So subscribe if you want to see more tutorials from me. In the next couple days, I should be coming out with a couple more Halloween designs that you can make right before Halloween if you were interested in that. I'll leave my Instagram, Etsy, and all that down in the description in case you want to check any of that out. But yeah, I think that is it for this tutorial, so I'm gonna go. Bye.